All right, we're gonna jump into some quick news here. So,
Quick news.
Better be quick.
That's right. So first thing, we're just gonna react to the Ant-Man. Yeah, react. Not
pull up
discuss,
the vid.
and give our reaction to the Ant-Man Quantumania
and the Wasp. Did you see that?
Quantumanium, is it?
Yeah.
Trailer dropped. So I'm gonna send it over to our resident Marvel expert, Josh.
Whoa! Wow.
I was gonna say,
no freaking credentials.
We'll start with you, Josh. What do you think about the trailer?
It was fine. Like, looked pretty. Lots of things going on. We get to see Kang finally, which they've been building up since Loki. So this is the
Which he looks the same as he did in Loki.
Well, yeah,
He got a different suit on.
I think his face was purple,
He's just
right?
a
So
dude, bro.
I think he had a mask. I think
Yeah.
it's the mask because I think in the comics, in some iterations, he's fully purple,
Yeah.
and in other ones, it's just like the visor on his mask that makes him purple. But yeah, I mean, this is the villain that they're going to be building up for the next phases. So at least supposedly, he's the next Thanos level villain. Supposedly,
Yep.
I mean, it looked fine, I guess. I like Paul Rudd, so
Yeah.
that's one of the only things
too.
about Ant-Man that I'm like, Paul Rudd's in it, so I'll watch it. Bill Murray's in it, even though everyone
Yeah.
hates Bill Murray right now. But
Really?
Not me.
yeah, dude,
Oh, bummer.
canceled.
He's getting me too.
Okay. Me too. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Like, or well, at least the like visuals of it all,
Yeah.
like the secrets of like this mini society in the quantum realm. It seems
Like
like
you need in the cupboard.
yeah, they're like teasing this like super like mysterious like bad guy. I don't know the way they're like showing this guy on the like stages and stuff like that, and like I don't know who's that gonna be, but I was like, oh, interesting. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of like
Yeah.
very dark shots where you can't. They're obscuring the faces and like the top sides of people, and but it looked kind of like
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Black Panther-y in the like technology. You know, like the most recent trailer with the new one. Yeah, it looked kind of like that, but looked like five. But there
opening, when they all get sucked
giant,
in.
but there was no giant bowl of cereal and chilling,
yet.
Maybe
chilling on Cheerios.
I could totally see
Yeah,
that.
Rick Moranis, he's showing up.
chilling on bacteria.
Yeah.
What's up?
That's what when I saw
mitochondria.
that. That's the kind of first thing I thought when they all get sucked in, and I kind of laughed a little bit. Like I like
You mean Jumanji?
I like the line.
There's a lot of movies like that.
I like the line when he's like, thanks when they do the thanks Spider-Man. Like that was like Paul Rudd. Like he excels it. He does well. But I kind of laughed a little bit when they're like in the trailer, his daughter's like being like, oh, we're doing this at the quantum realm or whatever. And she's like, I didn't tell you, like, it's sending a signal down there. And she's like, I didn't tell you everything. And they get sucked in. And then she's like, where are we? I'm like, you were just where do you think you are? You just told everything you're sending a signal to the quantum realm.
She
and
didn't
you're
know
like,
she was going to get sucked into it, bro.
She was like,
Come on.
well, what nation am I in the quantum realm?
I
Like,
was
she
like-
wants specifics.
I was like, come on, you're the one that was figuring this whole thing out. You should know where you are.
I did think that scene was a little funny too. Like just that she's like,
yeah, kind of.
she just showed up and was like, hey, we're doing a science experiment. And then she finally found, she's like, wait, you're doing what?
No. Yeah, it's kind of goofy.
Maybe it'll play better in the movie.
Yeah, we'll see.
Probably.
It was like a 2-second clip. You know what I'm saying?
Like you've been around for 3 years and you never mentioned what happened while you were down there.
Bro, trauma.
Okay.
Bro,
PTSD. Ever heard of
there's
it?
something there, man. That's part of the intrigue.
It'll be interesting again. Like me not being a huge Marvel fan, it looks interesting to me. And I thought some of the visuals were cool, like when he's running and like the bigger Ant-Man is like getting dissolved.
Yeah.
So that stuff was kind of interesting to me. But again, I'm kind of like, yeah, we'll see. Is it just going to be a lot of humor? I can deal with Paul Rudd humor better than I guess other people. But we'll see. It's not something I'm super excited for. But I feel like the Kang stuff in Loki, I was kind of annoyed with what they ended up doing there. So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard not to bring that baggage into this, even though it looks like they're doing a different version of him. in this
Yeah.
movie.
Well, yeah, the one that he warned them about, I would assume.
Yeah. I think it's hard to really have a feeling about it just off the trailer. Like I said, Paul Rudd's funny and cool, so I mean, I'll watch it. Watch it when it comes out. It comes out February, so it's pretty soon.
Did you guys get a chance to see the poster?
Yeah.
No.
So I've complained in the past, if you listen to the podcast, about the floating head poster that everyone does. So this one was actually, I was like, okay, at least they did something different, where it's like Kang's big floating head,
cool.
and then
it's him.
Yeah, and then he's got
floating head,
his hand.
He's just like that,
and they're on the tip. I thought it was a really cool poster, and I was like, man, do that more, because that's. I think eventually we're gonna get the floating head, all the character poster on there.
But
I was like,
have like 20,000 people.
No, but I was like, it's cool, as someone that calls out things I don't like. I like this. I like the poster, and I wish they did some more of that with their stuff.
I think some of the more recent Marvel stuff has had better posters, like the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
had a
those
pretty cool
posters
one.
are cool.
The Morbius posters were really cool too.
Yeah. That was Sony though.
It was cool.
Doesn't
But,
matter. I mean,
yeah.
Cool posters.
We'll take who we can get.
Anything else on the?
Posters
Any
better
other
than the
comments on the trailer? You guys want to say, or will we move on to the next thing?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Marvel needs some direction with the villain, so hopefully Kang is good for the.
I'm excited to see a different Kang.
Yeah, and I think what people were coming out of D23, people were saying that the footage they saw was like he was pretty brutal in the scenes that they saw. So I'm interested to see, like, hopefully they can deliver on like a interesting villain that's not like just a joke.
Yeah. I mean, the Kang we saw was at the end of his rope. He didn't really care about anything. Yeah. Totally different guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing we're moving on to is this is a rumor, Star Wars rumor going out, that Damon Lindelof, who was one of the writers of Lost, he just recently wrote the Watchmen show.
Leftovers.
Did he do Prometheus, right?
Yeah, he wrote Prometheus.
So he's been around, done some good things. Some people say he's up in the air on certain things. But apparently he is writing a secret Star Wars project, is what they're saying. Like, it's not named yet or anything, but that it's going to be a movie. And the other rumor is it takes place after Rise of Skywalker, so after the sequel trilogy, and it may include some of those characters. So no one knows kind of what the story is.
Is it a one-off?
They just said he's writing a movie.
They said spin-off with potential for more spin-offs, but not necessarily a trilogy.
Right.
We're finally getting more Broom Kid.
Yeah,
Could
baby.
be.
Showing up.
What do you guys think? So first off, we've had this discussion before about the difference between movies and TV shows. Like, I know we're getting a lot of Star Wars TV shows, but I've said there's something special about going to a movie. Do you guys think it's time to have a Star Wars movie now in theaters? And what do you guys think about it being something that comes after the sequel trilogy?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the sequel trilogy, but I'll always be optimistic for a Star Wars movie for sure. And it feels like it's been a long time since we've got one. So, yeah. And I like Damon Lindelof a lot. I really like his work on Lost and all of his other stuff that he's done. So, yeah. I'm optimistic for sure.
See, what do you think?
I don't know. What are you supposed to think? They haven't really given us much.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Are you excited for a Star Wars movie?
I mean, in
the
general,
next 2 years.
Depends on who's in it, honestly. If we're just gonna get like a movie that has nothing to do with like kind of the stereotypical like themes, I'll be less excited about it. Like, yeah, I miss the Force being an aspect of the movie. I miss Jedis. I miss like a lot of those common tropes that we do over and over because that's Star Wars. So if it doesn't have that, then I won't be as excited about
So
it.
what if it follows...
Luke Skywalker.
No, what if it follows
in the afterlife?
A young person or a teenager that has the Force.
Sure.
And it's Rey Skywalker trying to build... she's a Skywalker at the end of the thing. Rey Skywalker. So she's trying to build her Jedi Academy or whatever, and there's rumors of that, and you've got this character that's like, it's a story about how he gets to that point.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm just threw a random thing up there.
Sure. I think force sensitivity and just that aspect of
You want to see lightsabers.
it's in. Well, I think just
and
the
rocks
force
being lifted up.
No, I'm saying more like good versus evil. Like I want to see good versus evil. I want to see the standard like hero's journey. Like I don't know. I'm just basic or a loser or whatever. But that's what I want. Like I miss it.
Yeah.
Especially seeing all these shows.
Yeah.
All these shows are making me want it more and more, and it kind of brings back kind of like my original issue with these is that we're straying so much farther away from the original Star Wars just themes that it just makes me miss it. So as long as like the Force or Jedi or something attuned to that, where we're good versus evil, that hero's journey, I'm down 100%. But if we're gonna do Ocean's 11 at that casino place,
now we're talking, baby.
Not a
on
fan.
Canto Bite.
Yeah, Canto Bite. That's
That'd
what it
be
was.
sick.
Let's go.
Nah, I'm good. But yeah,
Only if George Clooney shows up.
Yeah.
We got these two
Brad
humans.
Pitt.
We need to get a Rodian.
Brad Pitt, and he's
I
always
know just the Rodian.
he's always like eating the sandwich.
Yeah, I was chewing on
in every scene. That'd be awesome.
Jude, what do you think of the news?
I mean, sure, I'm excited. I think there were rumors that they put together like a writer's room and that Dave Filoni was involved.
Done.
They said so. I think they said Damon Lindelof and a couple other people, and then
That's all you need. Damon Lindelof and
they
Dave
said Dave
Filoni.
Filoni
That's
was
true.
involved.
If
so,
that's true, then I'll be way more
I'm
excited
like,
about it.
that's interesting. If that's true at all. But yeah, I mean, I think it's time to have Star Wars movies again.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'd rather have Old Republic movies.
Me too. Yeah.
Just because we haven't had much. Maybe when the Acolyte comes out, we'll have that kind of segue into more of those movies. But yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for a sequel trilogy movie set in that time frame. Maybe we could probably let it simmer a little bit more. Because honestly, I'm like, what are we gonna explore?
Ray.
Meh,
Yep.
I don't know.
Agreed. Yeah. What about you,
I'd
Mike?
rather get Old Republic over
same.
this. But
No, yeah, I agree. And it really has. I mean, the last one came out in what 2019.
yeah,
That's not that long ago, really. And
How old's Maya?
5.
That's her whole life, bro.
like I said,
It's a long time.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of specifically the last two movies, so it's not something that I would specifically with those characters want to see more of necessarily. But yeah, I think I would like more of, Old Republic, like just go way in the past or way in the future or whatever. But yeah, to me, it just feels a little too soon to see specifically more with those characters.
Well, I guess that's the detail that I'm not clear on. You said there would be a feature, like a cameo from them.
They're
right?
No, they
saying
just said it may
include sequel trilogy characters.
yeah.
Oh,
I think
That's all they said.
So we got
Yeah,
nothing to
I
worry
think
about.
I'd only
here.
be excited if the sequel character that it includes is Palpatine.
back again.
Somehow he
back.
returned.
Again.
What if Hux comes back?
He's like, I've got so
Hux
many
movies.
clones.
Another one. Yeah, I want, like, I'm ready for another Star Wars movie. Like I said, there's something special about Star Wars movies for me. So
Yes,
I
I'm
don't
with
care
you.
where it is. I would prefer it to be Old Republic because I think that would be really cool to get a trilogy there. But if we're gonna get something, like, I know a lot of people don't like her, but I really like Rey. I think Rey is a great character.
Yeah.
And so that to me that's what I'd want to see if they're doing a sequel trilogy. I'd want her to be involved in some form as to how you're going to continue her story, because I do think I don't want to wait
I don't
10
I
I don't want to wait what they did with the other characters. It's like, let's wait
10 years.
10 to 20 to 30 years and then be like, hey, let's fill in the backstory. They'll just tell you. I was like, no, just show me. Like, give me another movie and show me what she's been up to since the end of Rise of Skywalker. Like, is she building her academy? Is she doing that? And then you can bring in a villain or something that then threatens her. But I was like, you don't need to wait a certain amount to then bring her back and then have the mystery box. Like, what happened in the past? Like, I don't need
Where's
that. Like,
Poe?
why aren't they not? Where's Finn? You know, what happened? And like, well, that's a story for another time, and we have to figure it out. No, like, just show me, like, what's Rey up to? And it doesn't have to be a movie about her, but at least you can get like oh, well, there's this Jedi that started an academy, and you're kind of hearing the stories of her, and then you have, show it to me, because you have an opportunity to have a young actress that does a good job, and I want to know more about her story. You can start developing the next 30 years of her life with movies, and then it doesn't have to be episode, whatever we're on now, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Like, you don't have to wait, like, doing some stuff, like, even if you're using the Marvel formula, where you have movies about certain characters, but maybe these other characters show up in them, and then eventually you have 10, 11, 12, if you want to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is, would you have a problem? I guess the answer is no for you. Like, you don't have a problem with it. But if there's like all these spin-offs and they're kind of playing in this era, and then they have episode 10 is like basically what your Avengers movie would be, essentially. And then you go out of that 10, 11, 12. Would you guys be fine with that type of model of like, we're getting these spin-offs essentially, and then eventually we build up to episode 10?
I'd be fine with that.
It depends on whether we're writing this as we go, or if we write this before everything.
Right. And I think that's
the biggest like piece. Like, the way that they butchered that last trilogy was abysmal. The way that they, do what you want with this. Oh yeah, do what you want with this. Oh, by the way, you got to fight Palpatine at the end. Okay, no worries. Like, it felt so bad. So as long as either if this is a one-off and it's one-off, or if it's a part of a greater scheme of things, I'm down, but just have a plan for it.
Yeah. And like you said, if they have Filoni involved with saying, hey, we want to get to this point, and these are kind of the things we want to hit here, then I have confidence that they can do it. Because I think that's what they're doing with the TV shows, with the Mando shows, Ahsoka, like those that are connected in that universe. Yeah. They're doing a good job of like, hey, this is a story we want to tell. We got to get to this point. Let's use these characters. I think that was their biggest mistake. They didn't have anybody doing that for the sequel trilogy. If you have Dave Filoni and Damon Lindelof and some other people saying, this is our end game, this is what we want to get to, and how are we going to get these characters to this point to then have this, like, I have full confidence that Filoni can do that.
That's something we haven't seen, is Dave Filoni handling characters who are past the main storyline, the vanilla storyline. So that I'm very intrigued in, just to kind of see what happens after. And how he would handle those characters.
And the fact that Ahsoka is still alive.
Still kicking.
She's never going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like even if they do spin-offs, I feel like that helps them kick the can down the road a little bit. Because you're like, this is just a side story over here. This has nothing to do with like the galactic...
I feel like they like to do fate. That too, to kind of like test what people like and what people don't like.
And so I think that would be cool if it's like, hopefully Dave Filoni is working on this big master plan for the next 30 years of Star Wars or whatever.
The dream.
And you can start kind of, okay, let's dip our toe in the new sequel trilogy. And then once we like have our outline basically filled out, then we're like, okay, now we can build towards this. I think that would be interesting.
Well, and that way you're even able to like, so I think one of the biggest problems with the sequel trilogy is all of a sudden, I know they did a time gap, but it's like all of a sudden the First Order's here, right? And you're like, where do they come from? And they kind of explained a little thing in books. But I'm like, this gives you an opportunity to, whatever threat you're going to have take on the galaxy, you can start planting seeds of being like, oh, there's this happening. And then you get to a point where it's like, when the big bad shows up, you're kind of like, you get it. Kind of like Thanos, right? They have little things. But with the First Order, it was kind of like, a massive group just came and took over. Like, it was hard to kind of just...
It's forced, and it's just forced
You had to just assume, like, oh, well, things happened in the 20 years or whatever, 30 years that have passed. But this way, you're able to plant seeds and develop something. Right. So then when it really does happen in episode 10, where the bad guy shows up, you're like, oh, this makes sense because this has been happening for the last 10 years with these movies.
Yeah. I'd prefer that proper setup,
Yeah.
I don't think it has to, but just because think about the original Star Wars, like you were just thrust into it. Yeah. So it still works.
The tone was.
But I love that idea of having this like a natural evolution of the story. That'd be cool.
But I think for me, a little bit of the difference between in the original trilogy, it was brand new. So it was you just assumed the Empire. In the sequel trilogy, it was like the First Order is like, it's basically the Empire with a new name.
Well, I think that's a problem that they did. They had too similar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't want them to do that in episode 10, where they're like, now it's the skeleton squad, and then it's like
skeleton.
It's from Planet Skeleton.
Get this guy. Are you listening, bro? Get this guy in the writer's room.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's just like a massive group that just shows up, they're all on their bike. That's how they train. Skeleton.
That's good.
That's what I'm saying.
Gold.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, we know nothing, but it's definitely intriguing, and I'm excited for a movie.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, for sure.
Whatever it is, Rogue Squadron. Just give me something that I can go to a movie theater and watch.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for. You're going to get that Taika Waititi movie.
Not Taika Waititi.
I don't think that's happening.
Please. Or James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah. Anyways, anything else? Are we done for the evening?
I think we're done
for the evening.
Yeah,
I think so.
All right,
cool.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. We'll be back next week with more Nerd Age, and we appreciate you guys. And subscribe on all our social media and our YouTube channel, and we'll see you all next week.